How we're sitting.
Me in the start like this. Oliver, you're there in the L shape. I don't know how to get the rest of the things in.
Can you? Okay.
We should put the lost meme just at 2% opacity on every slide. Just over every image.
That's good.
Should we hurry this up?
Okay, let's go.
7:14. Prayer time is out.
Let's go.
Is it on?
Yeah, this is the right turn. I tapped the thing too.
Yeah. Welcome. My name is Oliver.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Taekun.
And today, we are going to take you on a journey to search for knowledge.
Cicada 3301.
Space.
Stem cells.
The unknown.
All these things will be the topic of our presentation today.
These real-life examples bring up many questions about knowledge and human nature.
Now let's get started.
The internet has allowed for the widespread exchange of ideas and information. But the internet can also be a place of mystery and secrets. On January 4th, 2012, a mysterious user on an online forum posted this image. Hello. We're looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There's a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck. 3301. This post sparked a frenzy of people to search for the clues to find this peculiar organization.
Online geniuses were led on a path as the messages said. But this path was not an easy one. They had to search through source codes, libraries, and even the real world. Puzzle by puzzle, people around the world were putting all their thought into finding the next clue. More messages from this elusive group appeared on the web, along with many fake users claiming to be Cicada. However, some observant people found the elaborative encoding of the authentic Cicada messages to determine which ones were the real deal.
This search has continued to this day, with new messages and hints forcing people to learn various ciphers, listen to ominous voice messages, music, and use their minds to look through every crevice for the next clue. Today, the trail has run cold, and many don't know where the next hint lies.
When I first saw this story, I was extremely intrigued. I thought it was amazing how much effort people put into solving the puzzles. I never even heard of some of the ways people found new hints from Cicada.
Another reaction I had to this was that I thought it had some sort of ominous tone. In particular, the puzzle where QR codes were posted in paper in many different countries all around the world. I thought it was pretty crazy, the extent to which this organization was omnipresent.
The thought that these organizations were unknown was quite mysterious. It also sparked my interest and reaffirmed my belief in the reward at the end of Cicada 3301. First off, this endeavor through the numerous puzzles was sparked by belief. Countless people across the internet believed that something would reward them at the end of their search.
Each puzzle, although visible, required more examination to be solved. Most of the puzzles were solved through reason or logic, and even imagination for some of the more obscure ones. People had to create wild new ways to solve these puzzles that nobody had thought of before.
Now, these ways of knowing aren't perfect. As of 2017, everybody's stuck on the same puzzle, and even today, nobody solved it. This shows the limits in these ways of knowing. The knowledge from these ways of knowing is limited by the individual that is searching for knowledge. Depending on how effective the individual is at using the different ways of knowing, the search for new knowledge affects how easily or how difficult these individuals can solve the puzzles.
Before we start analyzing this real-life situation to its full extent, there are some terms that need to be defined in order to fully understand our analysis.
A knowledge question is an implication of what we center on within a real-life situation.
A real-life situation is an experience or event that has happened in our world.
A belief is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists.
An assumption is a belief that is said to be true without justifying it with evidence.
An area of knowledge is a field in which there is shared knowledge. All of the areas of knowledge are the arts, ethics, history, human sciences, indigenous knowledge, mathematics, natural sciences, and religion.
A way of knowing is a method through which knowledge becomes apparent to us. There are 8 different ways of knowing: language, sense perception, emotion, reason, imagination, faith, intuition, and memory.
2 knowledge questions that arise from this real-life situation are: why do humans search for knowledge? And also, to what extent are humans motivated to search for unknown knowledge?
The areas of knowledge that go along with the chosen knowledge questions are history, the arts, science, ethics, and religion. And the ways of knowing are faith, imagination, reason, emotion, and memory.
The question that we are investigating is, why do humans search for knowledge? This knowledge question will help us explain the real-life situation because it revolves around the idea that humans search for knowledge even when the result is unknown. The more you know. This search leads us around the world, into space, and beyond what most could imagine 50 years ago.
Humans search for knowledge because people believe there would be some sort of reward at the end. People have faith that they might be rewarded in some way at the end of their search for knowledge. Just as through Cicada 3301, people had faith that there was some sort of reward at the end of all these puzzles and games.
One might say, however, that we search for knowledge not to understand, but because it is an innate part of our humanity. Humans must search for knowledge the same way that we must eat or drink to stay alive. This relates to a theory proposed by a well-renowned psychologist, Piaget, in his theory of cognitive development.
Piaget states that in the sensory-motor stage of development, from birth to 2 years old, humans innately seek knowledge from our surroundings using movement and senses. Babies are then able to learn about the world around them using their basic action.
On top of this, they make new discoveries about the world around them. Piaget provides a precedent on how humans are wired to explore the world around them. In relation to our knowledge question, we can either see that humans search for knowledge in the hope of a reward, or just to fulfill their innate human desires.
Humans search for knowledge for a reward, as seen through Cicada 3301, as well as due to their innate desire to learn, as seen from Piaget's studies. Through this, we can say that humans search for knowledge either in the pursuit of a reward or to fulfill the innate desires of our humanity.
Riveting.
No.
The idea of a reward for the search of knowledge can be seen through the representation of the arts in this real-life situation. Due to the fact that Cicada 3301 is a giant puzzle, it can be seen as a form of art, using the idea that the arts can be represented through any medium. The puzzles were also reportedly intended to recruit the best and the brightest to their organization, and therefore one could postulate that the challenge is a form of art that rewards the Cicada organization. Through their puzzle, they desire the reward of hiring the hackers and other people who are smart enough to solve their complex puzzles.
In opposition, people might say that art is always created for art's sake, despite any reward at the end of it. This could mean that the Cicada organization was not seeking to recruit those who are able to solve their challenges. However, using them instead as a way to challenge the world with the most difficult puzzles and challenges that they could create.
The arts, to many, can be seen as a reward to long and fruitful endeavors of artists, finally creating their desired outcome. They could also be seen as a way to obtain rewards or payments for their duties creating the art piece. Finally, they could be used as a creation of their own accord, being created for the beauty they represent alone. In any case, this shows how the arts can be seen as a way someone might search for knowledge, either for some sort of reward or just for the beauty of its creation.
People use their ability to reason in order to try and solve the various problems that they may encounter in their lives, reasoning out the best way to gain the necessary knowledge so that they may reap the benefits of this newfound information. In terms of the real-life situation, the benefits of this newfound information, the participants of the Cicada challenge use their ability to reason to try and understand in an attempt to solve the problems presented to them.
In the search of Cicada, one of the first puzzles was to find the sum of 3 different numbers from the initial images that were prime, one of which was said to be 3301. The hint said that the other two prime numbers would be found within the image. Then, smart code breakers used reason to determine that they needed to search through the image properties. From this, they found that the other two prime numbers were from the resolution of the image, 503 and 509. This knowledge carried them on to the next puzzle.
Through this way of knowing, human beings search for ways to gratify their desires by solving knowledge problems that they believe to lead them closer to an unknown reward, and solve the plethora of problems created by Cicada.
An alternate perspective on this issue could be that human beings intuitively know that there is an advantage or inherent reward to searching and discovering knowledge, rather than using their ability to reason to come up with an answer or solve the outcome. Reason can be considered a way to gain necessary knowledge or information, and therefore to expand our knowledge. It could also be seen that the humans inherently search for knowledge due to our innate nature, knowing that there is an advantage or reward to searching for knowledge. This relates back to Piaget's sensory motor stage, as he talks about the innate search for knowledge.
Space, the final frontier. Space is something that has always fascinated people on Earth, mainly due to the fact that we know so little about it. Ever since we can remember, man has looked at the stars in wonder and amazement. Many countries have spent countless dollars and hours studying anything and everything to do with space, attempting to send people to space and explore it.
Despite these efforts, and all we do know about space, we still don't know quite that much about the sky above. This lack of understanding combined with the wonder it creates has inspired people to search and discover new knowledge pertaining to space.
Specifically, on May 5th, 2018, NASA launched 2 CubeSats into space, traveling a record distance of 621,371 miles, or 1 million kilometers away from the Earth. These 2 spacecraft are part of the Mars Cube 1 mission, a project undertaken in order to lay down the foundation for future unmanned missions into deep space. The success of these miniature spacecraft could possibly lead us to the expansion of deep space exploration program to aid us in the discovery and understanding of the stars.
On a personal level, I've always been extremely interested in anything to do with space, constantly keeping myself up to date with all the news and findings released. The main reason I've been interested in all this stuff, other than it being really cool, is because it fascinates me in how little we know about space, despite the number of years we, humanity as a whole, have spent searching and researching it.
In the exploration of space and anything related to it, there are many different ways of knowing and areas of knowledge used to search for knowledge. Through imagination, science, and faith, people have searched through space in the intent of discovering the unknown.
It is also important to note, however, that these are not the only ways of knowing related to the exploration of the unknown. They are the main 3 we'll be focusing on in this presentation.
Human beings search for knowledge in order to explore and understand the unknown. This idea can be seen in relation to the exploration of space, as we have no knowledge of what the outcome of the search will be, simply holding the desire to understand what is out there beyond ourselves.
Human beings use their imagination in order to come up with the idea that there is something more beyond our planet. Excuse me. Using our creativity, we imagine what might be in space, which inspires us to explore the unknown in search of something similar to our imagination. In terms of the real-life situation, scientists from NASA utilize their creativity and imagination in order to come up with the design for the new CubeSats, so that they would be able to efficiently explore the cosmos.
On the other hand, another perspective regarding the knowledge question is that human beings use reason in order to come up with the idea that there must be extraterrestrial life or other inhabited planets, as, according to estimates, using space probes and observation of the night sky, there are trillions of planets in the entire universe.
The search for the unknown motivates this use of reason in order to explore space. We wish to discover and understand what we don't know about the world around us, using imagination to drive the search. We also use reason to deduce the idea that we must not be alone in this life, driving us to search for the unknown to find what we already know or think we know is out there.
I'm sure to everyone, this one's quite expected. Of course, in space exploration, they use science in a plethora of ways. This is the same for many other situations where people search for the unknown, but it's mostly prevalent in the exploration of space. Through scientific discoveries and scientific advancements, we're able to travel more and learn more in depth about space, helping us understand the unknown.
In opposition to this, one might say that space exploration will advance and continue to go on even without scientific advancement. Another overlooked aspect of space exploration is the mathematical process involved. Many astrophysicists spend a lot of time planning interstellar expeditions and rocket launch trajectory. These mathematicians have to analyze altitude, velocity, time derivative, gravitational acceleration, and even fuel mass flow rate. These mathematical geniuses use their skills to help us travel deeper into space and to learn more about the unknown.
This suggests that mathematics could assist the search for the unknown in space. Math could be used to make the most optimal paths, aiding in human search in space without the help of scientific advancement. It also suggests that science, in the form of scientific advancements and discoveries, will help us search through the space and the unknown in other ways.
As hard as it may be to believe, faith is an important aspect when it comes to exploring the unknown. People have to put faith in the idea that there is something out there within the unknown that is worth searching for. This is the same for exploring space. People have had faith that there is something else out there, just like how people believe that there is life out there other than on Earth.
For example, a majority of 65% of American men believe that extraterrestrial alien life exists in the universe.
Alternatively, one might say that instead of faith, people use reason for this same purpose. Due to the limitless and ever-changing quality of space, people use reason to deduce that there must be something else out there, rather than solely faith.
We can conclude that an individual could use faith or reason when exploring the unknown, as faith could drive the belief of something else out there to search for. In opposition to this, one could conclude that reason is used for that same purpose, to deduce that something is out there and to drive the search for the unknown.
Medical research has advanced greatly within the past few years. This can be seen through the advancement of medical practices. One example is of embryonic stem cells to help with things like cancer and severe burns. Another would be keyhole surgery, which reduces surgical scars on patients. Gene editing is used to assist immunity in the body and fix genetic defects. And even nanobot technology coming soon in the future can have numerous medical uses.
These ingenious advancements have been gained due to the long search for new medical breakthroughs, motivated by the goal of helping people and society as a whole. Stem cells, for one, have been used for numerous medical reasons, helping to fix and repair many different parts of the human body. Recently, iPS cells, a specific form of stem cells, have been used to help mend broken human hearts. In Japan, these cells have been used to help stimulate growth factors to help regenerate damaged hearts from different fatal medical conditions. However, completely adaptable stem cells can also be found in embryos and many baby cells. People have had to deal with many issues of ethics to advance the medical technology because of the potential to help the lives of so many people.
Personally, I think that stem cell research, even though challenging in terms of ethics, is extremely valuable as stem cells research with the good of humanity in mind.
I found that research into stem cells is quite an interesting one. I believe in utilitarian ideas, that actions should be debated in consideration with the most positive outcome. Because of this, I think that research should be seen as ethical no matter what, because it has the potential to help so many people.
In this medical research, and through technology and science, people must work through ethical guidelines to discover this new knowledge, which could be extremely beneficial to society and the human race.
This situation makes use of people's emotions, which naturally drive them to feel the need to discover any technologies or advancements in the field of medicine because it might help the lives of people.
Also, medical advancements require the use of memory, recalling the complex systems of knowledge in medicine and biology. Along with the history of medical advancements, people can continue research from others in a history long ago.
People are inclined to help others. It's basic human nature. Part of that is because of our emotions driving our actions, some of which for the betterment of humanity. This can be seen in relation to how people create new medical advancements for the benefit of humanity as a whole. In terms of our real-life situation, the creation of new iPS cells could now possibly allow for the cure of fatal heart diseases, like by scaffolding the heart with new cell grafts. These were created with the intention of helping humanity as a whole, with the emotions of empathy and the desire driving this intention.
Most medical achievements were created not just for the benefit of one or two people, but rather for the entire society.
One could say that instead of people being inspired by emotions of empathy and generosity to help others, people would be inspired by the want to advance in any way, whether medical or not. This could be seen as the inspiration behind medical advancements.
In regards to this counterclaim, we're saying that people search for knowledge just to find knowledge, and not because they're being driven by their emotions. Going back to the situation of stem cells, we're saying that scientists research the technology and applications of stem cells not to help people, but to discover the unknown about this medical technology, advancing the knowledge in the field of molecular biology.
Ethics as an area of knowledge is important when considering medical advancements. But to what extent do ethics control these advancements? We use the guidelines of ethical systems and morals to guide us toward medical growth that can benefit as many people as possible.
With stem cells, the most versatile cells are the ones harvested from embryos. There's been much debate on whether or not this is ethical. As to some, they are future living humans, so they shouldn't be harvested. This debate was conducted after the advent of the new embryonic stem cell technology, considering the moral implications after the research was completed. This is an example of how ethical systems guide medical research.
This is also important for when considering to increase our knowledge in medical areas, as we need to consider whether the medical treatments are ethical or not.
An alternate perspective on this idea is that new medical advancements are derived from ethical guidelines and not the other way around. First, ethical boundaries were set for the scientists, who must then search for all the available knowledge within that range.
For example, if we determine collectively that embryos are living humans, then we know that harvesting them is unethical straight off the bat. This would be an example of how ethics are determined first in relation to stem cell research.
In order to further the goal of bettering people's lives, we look back on history in order to see what previous doctors, researchers, and medical professionals have done to try and solve the various medical problems that have arisen.
An example of this method can be found in the discovery of penicillin. First, a scientist by the name of Fleming stumbled upon the speculated effects of penicillin on bacteria in a lab, but this was only a theory. Later, the scientists Chain and Flory created a lab to test this hypothesis, eventually proving it true.
This is an example about how past medical history is used to inspire future research.
Using the information gleaned from the collective memory that has been established as historical fact, medical advancements in the field of stem cells have been created as we try to better the lives of human beings.
An alternate perspective on this is that the advent of new diseases causes the search for knowledge, so that we may help those who need it, rather than looking back at the past to solve the issues of today. The retrospectivity of history works against the search for knowledge, as the past is not often enough in order to find knowledge to answer issues of today.
A specific example of this is when Ebola first appeared, a very deadly disease killing around 11,000 people in Liberia, New Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Medical professionals did not have the crutch of historical appearances of the disease to try and solve it. Rather, they had to develop new technologies within the field of pathology to finally cure this issue, using antibodies from those infected to derive a cure to this deadly virus. This shows how human beings are reactionary, creating new knowledge in medicine after encountering the issues that arise in the present, rather than the past, connecting to how we develop new knowledge.
All three of these real-life situations take a closer look at different aspects of our central question. Why do humans search for knowledge? We've looked at elaborate puzzles, the great beyond, and medical genius. We've discussed the aspects of human nature, faith, science, reason, and even art in relation to our knowledge question. The first real-life situation deals with the idea that we search for knowledge due to the human desire for gratification through being rewarded. Cicada 3301 suggests that this motivation leads to innovative genius of the codebreakers in this real-life situation, a hope of unveiling an elusive and powerful organization.
Our second real-life situation deals with the idea that we search for knowledge due to our obsession with the unknown. We see that in human exploration of the space. We see that in human exploration of space, that people take advantage of science and mathematics to seek out the unknown. Even though we are certain of what there will be out there, people use reason and faith to justify the thought that there are other beings and imaginative places in the vast universe.
The last real-life situation deals with the idea that we search for knowledge in order to better our society, to help those who need it. Through medicine and proctored by ethics, humans search to achieve knowledge that could possibly better the human race for many years to come. It is this emotion that drives humans to discover the unknown in the field of medicine. Naturally, people feel the need to help their species in any way they can.
All in all, these real-life situations provide examples of how humanity searches for knowledge, and why. It's important to consider, though, that we cannot define the entire search for knowledge.
Our conclusion applies to the three real-life situations, as each of the real-life situations dealt with a different aspect of the knowledge question.
So going back to our central question from this investigation, why do humans search for knowledge? After our analysis of these situations, we can somewhat answer this overarching question.
Humans search for knowledge because we wish to understand the unknown and use this new discovery to reap its rewards, whether this is for ourselves as individuals or for the betterment of our society. We innovate and create new technologies to solve the problems of today and for our future generations.
This desire to understand allows our society to progress in many more ways than one, whether it is through the natural sciences, mathematics, the arts, or any other major area of knowledge.
It has been and will be the catalyst for the most important achievements in our society, shaping it since the dawn of humanity as we look to create new opportunities for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Oh, you're still here? Skedaddle, punk.